Kanaan Carlyle is in the transfer portal for the second time in 2 years. He had a very underwhelming season at Indiana relative to anyone's expectations. You know how sometimes there's the phrase like my wildest expectations. I think in everyone's lowest expectations, Kanaan Carlyle still underperformed from whatever you could have possibly thought the worst case scenario was. He averaged 4 points a game, 1.2 assists on 29% from the floor and 24% from three this season. Dion, he shot 43% from the free throw line this year. He played 406 minutes for Indiana. Everything is down from his first year as a collegiate basketball player at Stanford, where he showed a lot of promise. Point blank, do you still believe that Kanaan Carlyle is a reclamation project worth taking on?
No, just because he did show promise at Stanford, but like if we're being honest, like it's his numbers at Stanford didn't blow anybody away either, right? Like if Cannon Carlisle's resurgence is back to being a 32% three-point shooter, you need a little bit more out of your guard position in this day and age in basketball, in my opinion. And I mean, straight up 43% from the free throw line. Like, I actually think you have to try to do that. Like, I think Cannon Carlisle went into games and said, I'm not going to make free throws because you can accidentally make 50% of your free throws. Like
Yeah.
he had to try to do that. So I don't know. I think I'm fairly out on Cannon. With that in mind, like if you're coming down to one of your last scholarships available, why not take the flyer? If you already have the roster set, and this is a guy where like he's willing to commit to your school, not knowing if he's in the rotation or not, and you know you have a rotation you're very confident in, why not take the flyer? And if he develops into a guy that gives you 10 to 15 minutes per game, that's great. If he doesn't, your team's still like locked in and set. I kind of the way Cannon Catchings wound up at BYU, where it's like, hey, we took a flyer on him, but we were kind of good either way.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't see what's worth trying here with Cannon. Like there's some guys that okay, you had a bad year at a high major and it's like okay, I can see the projection of you can do this at a different spot. I don't know what it is that Cannon Carlisle does that any high major would want. He's not a shooter, he's not a finisher. He's an athlete, but that athleticism doesn't translate. He's small. He's small for a shooting guard. He's big for a point guard with no point guard skills. And I just don't know what you do with that. Indiana seemed to sort of hang their hat on Carlisle's defense. That was why he was on the floor ever. But he found his way off the floor quite a bit. Like he ended the season playing 6 minutes, 4 minutes, 7 minutes, 4 minutes, a bunch of DNPs mixed in there in the final month. So I don't know. This Indiana season was weird. I will say this, like everyone on this Indiana roster is in the portal. Everybody's leaving. I feel very confident at least three or four of these guys are going to go find homes and rewrite their careers. Cannon Carlisle would just be at the very bottom of my list of those guys I believe in, you know?
Yeah, I think Miles Rice is the one I believe could have the resurgence because I think he showed like maybe I wasn't as good as I was at Wazoo, but I fixed my three-point shooting. So it's like if you can combine what he did as a freshman mixed with what he did at Indiana, I think you have one of the best guards in the country. Do I think he'll wind up being one of the best guards in the country? Not necessarily, but he's the type of guy I would bank on having a resurgence. Malik Renew, I mean, we know what Malik Renew can do. It's just more so does Malik Renew's game fit every single school possible. So I think Cannon's definitely at the bottom of the list. I wouldn't be stunned if he finds his way back to Indiana, actually.
I am realizing you said you've done like 14 portal videos today. I think this is like my 30th video in 2 days on the portal. And I think I'm realizing that I've been overwhelmingly negative on all of them. And I'm not trying to play that role, but I think I'm realizing like there's just a lot of scum in the portal that everyone's trying to talk themselves into like being really shiny. Not really for me. Like there's like three or four names that really excite me that have hit the portal this year.
I told Cart like the portal is kind of like when you're in like middle school and you have your first girlfriend, but then you also want to see what's out there.
Yeah,
That's what
right.
the portal
You're like,
is.
oh, girls are fun.
Yeah.
There's more girls.
Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
go to dance with somebody else.
Yeah, that not great. Not
But then
great.
you wind up back at the following dance back with your ex-girlfriend. Like you know what I mean? Like that's That's the portal to me. It's middle school dating.
I will make this pitch. Now all I can picture is middle school you, and I know you were a menace back then.
That was a problem. That was a problem.
oh, I'll make this pitch. Sometimes we like to come on these and give potential destinations, schools to keep an eye on. I haven't seen a list for Kanaan Carlyle. I have no idea where to expect him to look here. I'm just gonna give a general suggestion that I would love as someone that maybe I'll root for Kanaan Carlyle. I don't know. I would love to see this kid go down a level because like we just did a Gabe Cups video with Cups. It's like who cares? You go to whatever level, it's not going to matter. With Kanaan Carlyle, I will say this: his athleticism could pop a lot more against mid-major players. He has high major athleticism, but it's not special athleticism. It just kind of just goes away when he's at the Big Ten level. So I'll just throw this name out. It's not a fair comp whatsoever, but Bobby Pettiford was a guy that started his career at Kansas, pretty clearly just wasn't good enough, and ended up at High Point this last year. And High Point ended up being one of the best mid majors in the country. Played Purdue in the NCAA tournament. Brought Bobby Pettiford off the bench at High Point, and he got to just kind of fly around and do his athleticism stuff. I think that's the best case scenario for Kanaan Carlyle. Get off the high major level, find a mid major that wants you, that will play you 30 minutes, and just let your athleticism shine. And maybe you could salvage your career here.
Yeah, I guess I definitely think he should go down a level and like don't go down a level where it's like, hey, I went to a mid major, it's Memphis. Like
Yeah.
genuinely go down a level. Like go to like Tulane or something like that, where you
Yeah.
could just be free.
Right. Could work. All right. Good luck, Kanaan Carlisle. Good luck me trying to find positives on future portal videos.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.